Welcome to Ohio Stadium, home of tonight's game between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Ohio Bobcats. Kickoff at 7 o'clock, or let's be honest, probably like 7:12 or something on Peacock. So you have 2 hours to kick off-ish. You have time to get your streaming affairs in order. Figure it out. Do you still have Peacock from last year? I don't know. This is the time to look it up. I'm Tom Moore, joined by Tony Gerdeman at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Tony, we will get to the availability report in just a minute, and there is a little bit of a surprising name on there for the Buckeyes. But this is a game where I think there are a lot of people who have friends or family on one side of this game, friends and family on the other side of this game. Sometimes that can get contentious. Is this an Ohio State-Michigan game? No, absolutely not. This feels like a lot like last week, where it was Ohio State Grambling, and it was, hey, we're going to see the fun marching bands. We're going to see the fun marching bands again. 2 very different styles of marching bands at halftime. They're performing together. That should be awesome. But this also just is, this is a little bit of a good-natured ribbing kind of rivalry game. Should be a really kind of fun night in the Horseshoe.
Right. It's a game between Ohio State and the fallback school.
Safety. Wait, is this the year that you find out?
It is.
Do we all get to make the safety school joke at the same time if Ohio takes a 2-0 lead?
There you go. And it is a fun night atmosphere. I think it's going to be 2 schools. The schools know each other. The fans know each other. And a lot of Ohio fans are also Ohio State fans, but there are also some Ohio fans who are not Ohio State fans. And so I think it's going to be fun. I don't know that it's going to be a close game throughout, but I think the environment's going to be fun.
Yeah, the environment should be a lot of fun. Halftime is when the bands are going to be playing. I was told that the Ohio band is going to be like real high up in the C deck, and that's a function of Ohio wanting to have boosters in the better lower seats. That's not Ohio State exiling them to the top of C deck. But the Bobcats coming in off of one of the biggest wins in program history, 17-10 last week against West Virginia. We watched sort of the extended highlights. The whole game wasn't available. We watched the extended highlights of that game, and it was a great win for Ohio. It's a great win for new head coach Brian Smith. It's also, you look at that, and I saw some posts this week that were like, Ohio State, boy, you don't want to schedule Ohio. It's like, while that was an impressive win, this is also not a game where I'm looking at Ohio State and going, you're on upset alert.
Right, and I feel much better about Ohio State's chances in this game after watching the the extended highlights that we did, because this is not a very good West Virginia team, but credit to Ohio for doing what they should have done against the West Virginia team at home. And so they did what they needed to do. It was not perfect. It was not pretty. There's some interceptions in there, but they never quit. They never gave up. I don't expect them to quit in this one, just like Grambling State didn't. But just because you don't quit doesn't mean that you're not overmatched. Ohio does have some good players. It's always the lack of depth overall that gets programs like Ohio against Ohio State.
Yeah, exactly. The ones versus the ones is a mismatch in favor of Ohio State. The twos versus the twos might be a bigger mismatch in terms of Ohio State versus Ohio. We did a show running through kind of 5 Bobcats for you to know. You can find that on our YouTube channel. The one I did want to talk about, just because you sort of hinted around it earlier with the interceptions, Parker Navarro, the quarterback, 3 interceptions against West Virginia last week, which seems like, boy, he's going to be a liability. I think he's going to make some plays, both positive and negative, through the air. He's also going to probably make a play or 2 on the ground. I have a house divided situation where my wife and I went to different schools. My kids are wearing different school colors today to the game, and I said, look, I just want you to understand, they're going to give up some first downs. There's going to be a 3rd and 6, and Parker Navarro is going to run for a first down, and Ohio State fans are going to go, oh, he's in the MAC. How can you? And it's just like, just make your peace with that right now. It's going to happen once or twice. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, he is the bulk of Ohio's offense. It starts with him, ends with him, and when he's on, he's very good. He's a legit, very good MAC, all MAC type of quarterback, MAC Player of the Year type of player this season, and rushed for 1,000 yards last year, threw for 2,400 yards. Can do it either way. He's not. Doesn't have the biggest arm. He's like 6 foot, like 200 or so. He's not the fastest guy, but he's good enough at all of these little things to make life difficult for a defense, but also it's up to the Ohio State defense to make life difficult for him so that he's not controlling the narrative in this one.
Yeah, you should see Ohio State winning at the line of scrimmage more often than not in this game, and you should see the secondary be able to, potentially confuse him a little bit. There are a whole lot more, not only better players, but also a whole lot more coaches, a whole lot more assistants, a whole lot more quality control guys in the Ohio State staff. There's just a lot more guys to break down film and give, than there is on the Ohio side of things. So you have just a lot of structural advantages on the Ohio State side. One guy who has seen both sides of this is Will Kazmarek, a tight end. He played 3 years at Ohio, playing significantly 2 years, redshirted one, and then came up to Ohio State last year, broke his arm against Oregon, so missed a good chunk of the season. This year, 2 games in, you have seen him really start to have an impact, and I'm sure this is a game, we talked to him earlier in the week, I'm sure this is a game he would really like to make an impact in this game.
Yeah, and he made an impact against Texas with his one-on-one blocking against Colin Simmons and limiting the pass rush of Texas. Had the long touchdown catch last week, so he has made his impact in different ways. I'm guessing he would like to make that impact in the end zone at some point tonight, and I don't think it would be a bold prediction to say that he will. I think that would be a very unbold thing to project or to predict. But yes, it's not. Clearly, he holds no ill will towards Ohio or anything like that. He wasn't leaving because they didn't give him the ball. He had 2 seasons where he caught over 20 passes. He just wanted to extend his game and improve his game and play at the highest level. So I'm sure he'd like to just, for his friends that are still over there, look at me, 2 touchdown catches tonight.
Yeah, that would be bold. Can't believe no one said that. Yeah, he is someone who, we talked to him. He talked about the relationship he has with his coaches there. He said he still talks to some of his coaches, still talks to some of the players. Parker Navarro was the backup at that point, but he practiced with Parker Navarro and had great things to say about him. This is the kid who is, on the travel team, travel basketball team, travel baseball team, who gets an opportunity to play another level or 2 up, and it's like, what are you going to say? No, you can't. No, you go, you tip your hat, you say good luck, have fun. And he has, Will Kazmarek has a national championship ring now, and nothing but good feelings, I think, either way there. And I'm sure after the game we'll see him down on the field and try and get a lot of posed photos with him and his former teammates and all that kind of stuff. He said, that's got to wait till sort of after the game. One reason that we
don't do it during the game.
Yeah, try not to. Yes, listen, if he scores a touchdown, he's like posing on the way in like that. I mean, that would be a cool flex. I don't know that's going to be what he wants to do.
That would be overly flexing to be like, grab the defender, but you're like, come on, let's get a photo. No, that's a bridge too far.
Get in here.
Get in here, you.
One reason that we may see a little more of Will Kazmarek than normal is because there is another tight end who is on the availability report who is out this week. This was a name that we had, you'd sometimes hear like, oh yeah, this is definitely happening. This is one that I saw in the availability report, and I thought, that's interesting.
Yeah, Bennett Christian is out. He only played like 4 or 6 snaps last week, so I'm wondering if something happened that we didn't even notice because it was Grambling, and starters were leaving the game early in that one anyway. But yes, he is out. He is the only new name on the list, and I don't believe there are any names off of the list. However, remember one thing about the list. Logan George was not on the list either of the first 2 weeks. He is expected to play. He's not on the list today.
Yeah. So either that means he's available or he's equally available to the previous 2 games. Yes. The other names on the list, I'll just run through it real quickly. Bennett Christian, we just talked about. Brenton Inky Jones, safety. Max LeBlanc, second season tight end. Jason Moore, defensive tackle. Mason Maggs, former walk-on quarterback. Turbo Rogers, true freshman running back. Maxwell Roy, defensive lineman. Deshaun Stewart, safety. Ahmed Tunkara, and Preston Wolf. So again, as Tony said, all kind of the same names that we had last week, but we'll see. Logan George is an interesting guy because the fact that he hasn't played, but also hasn't been on the list, has been kind of curious to me. It was one of those things where you didn't necessarily notice it because they're rotating really deeply at defensive end, both first 2 games. You would be, hopefully he's out there and you get a chance to see him because he's someone who is coming from, we talked about Will Kazmarek, kind of stepping up a level or 2. Logan George stepping up from Idaho State, that's a whole nother level above that. I am really interested to see what he can do whenever he actually can get on the field.
Yeah, not playing against Texas it wasn't the biggest red flag. Like, there weren't the most alarm bells because it was Texas.
Right.
And the rotations were limited. Not playing against Grambling State when you've got Zion Grady and Epi Satanale, the true freshman out there, Joshua Mickens, a redshirt sophomore out there. Like, these guys were all playing, and it's like, where is Logan George? Clearly, he's not healthy. And he was banged up in the fall camp. So then there's just the assumption, like, maybe he's just not ready. Ryan Day was asked about it and finally said yes. He practiced last week. They decided to hold him out, practicing again this week. So 2 weeks in, let him play, see what he's got. He had moments in the spring where he looked like he belonged. Larry Johnson likes his toughness, and he's not the biggest guy. Now, he's bigger than when he got here, but he's probably he got here. He's probably like 245, 250, and has added some weight. I'm very interested to see what he does. But also, where is he in that rotation? Is he ahead of C.J. Hicks? Is he behind C.J. Hicks? And is he behind Zion Grady or Epi Satanale? And how quickly can he move ahead of anybody?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting thing to see, because you can get happy talked as much as you want to, and coach, oh, this guy's doing great, and you see a game like Grambling, and it's like, okay, this is when we can really set the depth chart, because they don't want to reduce a depth chart or produce a depth chart. That's kind of gone away in the last couple of years. You watch the Grambling game, I can tell you who's the first team and the second team and the third team offensive line, and they rotate the defensive line a little more, but I can tell you what order these running backs are coming in. I can tell you who's getting more carries. I can, you can get told whatever you want, then you actually show me where guys really are. So that's one thing that you can definitely learn in games like this. Something that I think we know is who QB1 is, and that is Julian Sayin. You talked to Ryan Day this week about some of the stuff that Julian Sayin does. Everyone talks about the quick release. Everyone talks about the accuracy and all that kind of stuff. But there's some other pieces of this. Getting the ball out in terms of pass protection. Ohio State has not allowed a sack. How quickly he gets the ball out is one crucial piece. Number two is exactly how precise he is with ball placement, because that feels like that's a huge part of how successful they've been on offense.
Yeah, there's a difference between precision and completion percentage, because you can have an 80% completion percentage, but the guys are catching the ball all over. The precision that he has right now to put the ball where they're going, and so that they can continue going in that way to keep it away from defenders, aside from the one interception.
Yeah.
But if you go back all through his 39 throws, the only throw that hasn't been catchable has been one into the dirt on a third down scramble where he was just throwing it away.
Yeah.
That's the only throw that has not been in a position where a receiver could have caught it. Now, had that one interception not happened, it was going to Cardell Tate.
Right.
So that amount of precision and consistency has been impressive.
Well, it's interesting. You're through 2 games of the season, and you've heard people. I mean, there was lots of discourse about that throw into the dirt on that last drive, and it's third down and whatever. And would they have been better off with him scrambling and just running the clock down a little more? And there was all sorts of, oh boy. And then there was lots of discourse about the interception. And then those have been the 2 bad throws in 2 games. And you want so you want to be the Ohio State quarterback kind of moment. Like, well, how granular is the criticism going to be? Well, you're going to make 2 mistakes in 2 weeks, and boy, buddy, are you going to hear about it.
Yeah, and I think his most inaccurate throw is the 3-yard gain to Brandon Innes, where Brandon Innes had to kind of reach back and he couldn't pick up any yards.
Yep.
Like that. Other than that, because the throw into the dirt was right where he wanted it to go.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, it's been impressive.
So on the running game side of things, we've seen some of James Peoples. We've seen some of C.J. Donaldson. It feels like C.J. Donaldson has maybe been a little bit ahead of James Peoples so far in terms of just getting what's there, falling forward, getting a couple extra yards. We've also seen Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson, we have been telling you all year, hey, we don't want to say this kid's incredible, but keep an eye on him. I think you got a little bit of a sense for that last week where he had 9 carries and had over 100 yards. And yes, it was Grambling. We understand. He also had a ball where he fumbled out of bounds. Are we going to see Bo Jackson in the first quarter tonight? Are we going to see Bo Jackson in the first half tonight? Because it feels like, just based on what you've seen, you could see an argument to have him in that kind of mix early, but also, boy, don't fumble the ball. Ball security is such a big piece of this. Ball security and pass protection and blitz pickup. all this other stuff other than what do you do, how fast do you run and how quickly do you get into the end zone. All this other stuff feels like it's going to be kind of what drives that decision.
Yeah, I mean, he was out there in the first half last week, if I recall, but didn't necessarily get the ball until I think it was the third quarter when he had his touchdown run. So I'm not expecting him to get the ball in the first half. There may only be 4 or 5 possessions in that first half. Now, one running back doesn't need to get the entire possession. We know that. But I do think I wonder if we should just slow down on Bo Jackson, because I saw so many people like he's eventually going to be starting at the end of the year. By the end of the year, he's going to be starting.
Maybe.
So let's see it against everybody and see the amount of trust that they have in him and see if that continues. And then the production, and not just his production, but the lack of production from others. I think that also needs to continue for him to get the ball. But we've seen freshmen do it around here before. They're not gonna limit him. Only he is going to limit himself.
Yeah.
And we'll see. He's going to have an opportunity tonight. Will he continue to make the most of it? If so, then you take the week off. And you're like, do we need to revisit this?
Yeah. This is a great time. You're heading into the week off where you've got time to kind of maybe reevaluate some things, get back to basics, work on the pass pro, work on the blitz pickup, work on the ball security. You have time to do that before you shift your focus fully to Washington. We will, before we shift our focus fully to Washington, we do need to kind of preview sort of what we're expecting to happen later on tonight between the Buckeyes and the Bobcats. This feels like it's going to be, here's my courageous prediction,
All right,
ready?
okay, yeah.
Somewhere between the Texas game and the Grambling game. It's going to be kind of a little bit, basically right in the middle there where it's not going to be a blowout. It's also not going to be a 60-minute game. It might be a 30-minute game, though.
Yeah, one that gets the blowout. It's comfortable early enough, but then it gets maybe uglier later on, depending on what your definition of blowout is. I think Ohio State's going to be able to throw the ball. They should be able to protect Julian Sayin because they have been. I'm interested to see if they can run the ball. Rutgers ran the ball a little bit against them. Can Ohio State run the ball as well as Rutgers? You would hope so.
Set the bar high.
Set the bar right there. I do expect Ohio State to score plenty of points, and they're going to get after Parker Navarro. It's going to be up to Parker Navarro to get out of this. This is going to be like an escape room all game long for him.
Yeah, I think I had 45-13 Ohio State, and I'm not baking in a pick six or a turnover deep where you score on one play 7-yard drive or something like that. I think Ohio State is you're going to give up a touchdown at some point. It's okay. They've given up one in 2 weeks. You're allowed one more here. And you'll probably have another drive that gets into field goal range. You'll have, maybe you have a turnover and they kick a field goal kind of thing. Maybe it's 45-14, you get 2 touchdowns, whatever it is. It feels like Ohio's going to do enough that you're going to be a little annoyed a couple times, but it's not going to be a stressful second half. What did you think?
Yeah, I went 45-7, and I think this is one of those games where you can continue throwing the ball in the fourth quarter because it's like 31-7 or 31-13 in the fourth quarter. You can still throw the ball around. You can still throw deep. You're still playing your game, and if Ohio State is still playing their game, they're going to continue to add points at the end, and maybe not such a blowout that you even need to bring any backups in. That you don't need a number 2 offensive line. You don't need Lincoln Kienholz. This is just Julian Sayin and the ones and the regular rotation that gets the job done.
Well, and we watched Michigan earlier in the day just annihilate a really, really bad Central Michigan team. And Bryce Underwood, through 3 games, I think, has thrown every pass that a Michigan quarterback has thrown. So you could certainly keep Julian Sayin in there and just kind of, it's a young kid. Everyone's going to understand it's a young starter. You're trying to get him some more reps before you head on the road for the first time. I would also not be surprised to see Lincoln Kienholz get a drive or 2 because he's already burned his redshirt season. So, he has already used his redshirt season. Sorry. So there's no point in keeping him off the field. If you can give him a drive at the end of the game and it's 42-7 or whatever, by all means, give him a drive. He is still 1 snap away from being a starter. So we will see how they choose to handle that. We will see if the game gets to the point where they have a decision to make on that front. We'll be talking about all of this stuff, of course, after the game on our post-game show. You youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified. And make sure just as soon as the clock starts winding down, go ahead and pull up YouTube. We'll have our full live post-game coverage, live interviews with Ryan Day and some of the Buckeye players, and much more. Plus, Tony and I will do our instant reaction show after the game as well. So hopefully you guys will be there. Stick around for that. Those late night shows can sometimes get a little fun, get a little loose in the comment section. So always look forward to that. And it's not a noon kickoff, so you have that to look forward to as well. So we will talk to you guys after the game. Enjoy the football. Another lovely day for football in Columbus, Ohio. So have fun. You only get so many of these every single year, so enjoy it. We will talk to you after the game.